Hey guys, hadn't made a video in a little while, so I figured I'd try my hand at a review video, because there aren't enough of those out on YouTube at the moment. Maybe do some reviews on stuff I've thrifted out of stores in the region. I've now moved into an area with a couple of decent Goodwills, as opposed to where I used to live, where it had like one terrible Goodwill and a couple decent ones far enough away, but like you don't really want to drive like 10 to 15 miles on a guess that something will happen. But either way, that aside. So I did some thrifting a couple weeks ago, and I got pretty lucky, or at least I consider lucky. So right here, I picked up an Air Warriors Ultratech Predator. Not super huge on the scene, but I think they're really interesting. I got it for about $2.06 maybe, and it's a fun little blaster. So what it is a single shot bolt action blaster. It is not N-Strike compatible. It is Air Warriors, so it's Buzzbee. I remember when, it used to be like, I don't even think they were called Air Warriors at the time, but they used, oh my gosh, I had one right here. Here we go. When Buzzbee or Air Warriors line used these shells, which were super fun, and by fun, I mean I liked them, but I also hated looking for them. So not only did you have to go find the dart, which, were proprietary. I mean, because they're slightly, that's probably not a great example because they're the same color, but let's try this. There's slightly different density of the foam, so they might have worked, but my, 11-year-old self was like, they don't work. Screw it. So, needless to say. And when you would use the blaster, you would prime it, you would drop a shell in, you would close. It won't work with this one because the shells are not compatible. They're obsolete at this point. They actually didn't do much for performance either. They were just for cool factor, I guess. I have the double barrel one around here somewhere. That was fun. Loading in shells, break it open, shells come out. It was good fun. But now you don't need those anymore. They actually figured out how to do it without a shell, and what you can do is you just take it in, slide it into the chamber, and you're good to go. This thing will feed any kind of dart that I've tested. Obviously not Rival nor Mega, but it has a 4-dart storage in the rear right here. It's already loaded by the kind gentleman who did it earlier, and I don't like using the storage too much. It seems to get kind of clunky. Like, I've seen people try to field this at the one event that I went to, so clearly I'm the expert, but they would try to sit here and then fiddle with this in the middle, the heat of combat, darts coming in, diving behind trees. You got fellas with FDLs trying to get you, and they're trying to do this, and with a 30 to 40 foot range, maybe if you're tilting upwards. Yeah, it's purely just for the fun of it. It's not terribly a performance blaster. I have a lot of fun with it. I have not fielded it yet. I'd love to, but I'm also the kind of guy who likes using the Martini Henry in Battlefield 1, and single shot. I used to compete with a single shot rifle back in undergrad, so this is kind of not familiar. It's not exactly the same thing, but obviously it's kind of harkens back to it. So what I just shot was actually an Air Warriors dart, so clearly it'll use one of those. It'll even shoot these little Velcro dart tag ones just fine. They'll whistle a little bit. Here, I've got a old Whistler dart right here. So, if you're in one of them round games in which you got to scavenge for rounds, and you can pick up anything and throw it in there, provided, again, not Mega nor Rival. It'll use these, the knockoff AccuStrikes that folks are getting off of Amazon just fine. I don't have a chronograph anymore, so I can't test how fast it is. And I can't do the airsoft chronograph by shooting a Coke can, because obviously it's not going to do that, so I'm not going to waste your time. But here, we're going to take this to the range real quick. Here we are at the range, and we'll take a few shots with it. I got my very technical catch right here. It feeds into a ammo catching device, also known as a cardboard box, and here we go. Here we got a white Elite dart. Now here, let's use that old Buzzbee dart. Take it out of the shell. It's a suction cup dart. See, it fired that just fine. I didn't watch to see where it went. Here, let's use a legitimate AccuStrike. I've got a little torso-shaped square that I'm aiming for. You might be able to see it. It's kind of, I mean, here, I'm just going to point. It's, actually, here, point with the phone. Right here in this region, my highly technical pointing technique. I'm just kind of doing this off the cuff. I'm looking for some fun tonight, y'all. And, so it's, you know, at the range in which you expect to hit somebody, it's fairly accurate. It's not going to fling the darts everywhere. Yeah, obviously elite darts will curve a little bit, but that's because they're pretty turds, so nothing that we aren't expecting. Here's a knockoff elite dart. It doesn't even have the single hole to mess up its performance, but they're still pretty terrible. Yeah, you know, it's a pretty average performance. Either way, you know, it's a lot of fun. Here, let's bring this back to me. Let's switch camera position. Ooh, yeah, there we go. Camera A, camera B. Gotta get that B-roll footage. Anyway, something I actually look forward to. I would highly suggest picking one up if you see it, provided it works, I guess. You know, obviously, there's not really a whole lot to the shell to mod. Okay, you know, I have a few ideas, but, like, I don't see this being a hot ticket modding item for folks like, dare I say, the Deploy, because at least you can use the magazine well for something, but, yeah, I don't see a whole lot of folks doing this. They'd rather use, like, a long striker or a long shot or something, so, you know, it's definitely a niche blaster. I like this, you may not be able to see it, the pattern on the side. It kind of reminds me of a bowling alley's carpet or something like that, and that's the kind of stuff I like. So it's pretty neat. I don't like the sticker on the side, or, you know, the Air Warrior stickers have always been kind of lame, but, you know, that's about it. So that's pretty much is all I got to say about this blaster, and I'll end the video here. Thanks for watching. Actually, as soon as I hit the stop button, I decided that there was a few more things I could say about it. Really not much. I just figured that there were some more fun things I could do about it, and I can edit out all the crap later. So, there is one mod I had considered. It's not really something crazy, but there was something hold on a second. Something I had noticed that, since it is a single shot bolt action, you might as well use like there's nothing stopping it. It's basically has the same output as a Fire Strike, has the same output as a Bow Blaster. So there's really nothing, if anything, it's more inconvenient to use than a Fire Strike or a Night Finder or anything similar to that. So if you're trying to min-max your performance, then naturally, you know, I'd stay away from this. But I like fun, so here we go. Something I did notice is that, you know, spoiler in my hand, legitimate Nerf darts, even the elites, even though we don't like to claim them all the time, they fit kind of snug right here. So, like, for instance, if you wanted to gravity feed this thing and try to, it's not possible. You would have to tuck it and then hope that that doesn't happen. Obviously, well, you know, that'll come out in the wash. So something you could do is, I'll load one for posterity. This is an actual Air Warrior dart. They're slightly shorter than what I've noticed with a Nerf Elite, is that you could fit one on the chamber here. I'm not saying run out into a war like this. This is just prefacing my idea. And then you could shoot, and then you could open the bolt, and it just kind of fits right in. And it doesn't eat it or chew it up like it did that Elite dart. Excuse me, I just had dinner, y'all. Sorry, but it feeds just fine. So I was thinking of an idea based loosely off of a Krag Jorgensen, old U.S. infantry rifle. I say old, you know, turn of the century. I believe it was Span Am. A little bit later, it didn't quite make it to World War I, other than like in tertiary troops that really weren't on the front line. Either way, it was a side-fed. You know, folks are used to the bolt through video games and stuff like that. Folks are used to the bolt action snipers rifle, as much as that's a not really accurate statement. But the infantry rifle, you would open it, you would take your cartridges and then you would top off, and then you're good to go. And you got 5 rounds, 5 to 10, based off of what country you're from. But the Krag, which is the Krag Jorgensen, I'll refer it to as the Krag from here on, it fed from a side-mounted magazine that was integral, and what you did was it basically had a little knob here. I'll use a follower as an example, but it would have this little nub sticking out, and you would fold the door down, and you would side load 5 rounds, and it'd have like a spring tension like lock here, and then you would and the door will fly off just like that. No, I'm just kidding. But and you know, it was easier. Folks found it easier to reload that way, or Brass decided that that was a good idea. Either way, so I was thinking of something similar to a loading tray as opposed to a magazine, because I don't trust myself yet in the modding to carve out here and fit a like an in-strike magazine, as dope as that would be. I'm not an expert. This would be one of my first body mods, I guess, so to speak. So what I had figured of doing is making either a gravity-fed hopper, sort of similar to, I guess, the Nemesis or any Rival Blaster, or just an honest-to-God tray. I've got a knockoff magazine that I've kind of broken apart here, and I've kind of been thinking about, you know, this very technical description here. In making it slightly angled, I had thought about it, doing it like vertically, taking off the end here, and just single feeding, like, whoop, whoop. Obviously, like, since what I am looking at is, or the idea is that I just pick up rounds and feed them in, and then as I'm going. Now, obviously, if I do some parkour and flip it over, they'd fall out, but I know me, I'm not going to do that. So it would require taking a little bit out of this little nubbin right here to have to take my Dremel to it, and obviously some sanding implements to make sure that that doesn't get too chewed up. But do that. And I've got both halves right here. I haven't really kind of tucked into it yet, obviously, because the idea struck me at about 3 in the morning the other night. So I just literally broke it, and my Dremel is still packed at the moment. So, and just basically have this goofy magazine sticking out the side here, just dropping darts in. I think that'd be fun. It might make it a little bit more serviceable. It doesn't matter. I'm going to run it no matter what at the next war I go to, whenever that is. But something fun I guess I thought I could do is kind of show the difference. Because like my main suggestion with this is, if you are going to run it, is to have a vest or a shirt with pockets or something, as opposed to using the storage. Like, I saw some people using it, but just because it's included with the blaster doesn't mean you have to. Which I am all for not using a feature if it gets in the way. So I'm going to show the difference, I guess, in time on how long it'll take you to go through 5 darts versus using storage versus not. I'm actually just going to put these in my pocket just to make it fair, so that they're not sitting right here next to my very sophisticated camera tripod, also known as a cardboard box. So I'm going to start now. Actually, I'm going to start after loading the blaster. So starting now. And I'm not trying to like ham this up or nothing, but it is kind of inherently difficult to stay focused. And I've definitely played around with this one a lot, y'all. So I like these little silly blasters that... There you go. That's 5 darts, right? So I'm going to load a dart now. And that was less than a minute, but, you know, it could be better. So I'm going to just ham it up for about 10 seconds so I have a fair assumption. I'd say that was probably about 40 seconds without guessing. And 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Actually, it's probably going to be equal since I'm loading it from my pocket. But, see, once you get used to the bolt's tolerances and where you need to fold it and stuff like that, obviously this is terrible follow-through. I wouldn't recommend it for actual competition shooting, but that was less than 20 seconds. So, screw the stock storage. I don't think I would have to tell you that. It would be cool to OBRES it, maybe. You can take this stock right here, completely off, sand it down, turn it into a bolt-action pistol. You could take the barrel off, and it would be very holsterable. You'd have a single-shot bolt-action pistol, so it'd be very piratey, I think. I mean, pirates aren't really known for bolt actions, but, you know, like, yeah, bam. But, I wouldn't, if I get another, I'll do it, I promise. If I get another one of these, I'll do it. But I would like to do that, side tray, gravity-fed hopper mod, so to speak, once I get a hold of, my Dremel and stuff like that. So, Now that's all I got left to say about it. Now I have more stuff to edit out. I've made this harder on myself. Oh well. But I'll talk to you guys later, and thanks for watching.